Tasidevya Priyaya Kesavasacha Vishnu Bhakti Pradevi Sacha Vachanamo Namaha Vrindaya Tasidevya Priyaya Kesavasacha Vishnu Bhakti Pradevi Sacha Vachanamo Namaha Vrindaya Tasidevya Priyaya Kesavasacha Vishnu Bhakti Pradevi Sacha Vachanamo Namaha Jai Tulsi Maharani Ki Jai.
Okay. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janavalabha Girivaradari Jaya Gopi Janavalabha Girivaradari Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamunatiravanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari. Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana. Jamunatiravanachari. Yamunatiravanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama. Jaya Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parvikacharya Ashtatara Shadashi Srimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. ISKCON Founder His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Namachari Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Shikaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radhakrishna Gopa Gopinath Shamakun Radhakun Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Shri Mathura Dham Ki Jai. Shri Mayapur Navadvip Dham Ki Jai. Shri Yamuna Maya Ki Jai. Shri Ganga Maya Ki Jai. Shri Mati Tulasi Devi Ki Jai. Shri Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Gaura Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Sri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Na Brahmanaha Swa Para Veda Matis Tava Syat Sarvatmanaha Sama Drisha Swa Sukhanubhute Samsevatam Shura Taror Iva Te Prashada Seva Nurupam Udayo Na Vipraryayo Tra Na Brahmana Swapara Vedamatistava Syat Sarvatmana Samadrisha Swasukana Bhute Samsevatam Suratarur Ivate Prasada Sevanurupamudayo Navripraya Yotra Na Brahmana Swapara Vedamatistava Syat Sarvatmana Samadrisha Swasukanubhute Samsevatam Turataror Ivate Prasada Sevanurupam Udayo Navipraya Yotra Na Brahmana Seva Swapara Vedamatistava Syat Sarvatmana samadrisha swasukanubhute. Samsevatam surataror ivate prasada. Sevanurupam udayo navipraryayotra. Devotees. Na brahmana swapara bedamatis tavasyat. Sarvadmana samadrisha swasukanubhute. Samsevatam turatura ivate prasada. Sevanurupam udayo naviparayayotya. Na brahmana swapara bedamatis tavasyat. Sarvatmana samadrisha swasukanubhute. Samsevatam surataror ivate prasada. Sevanarupam udayo navipraryayota. Vaishnavis? Okay. Na, not. Brahmanaha, of the absolute truth. Swa, of own. Para, and. Others. Veda, differential. Mati, mentality. Tava, of you. Syat, there can be. Sarva, of all beings. Atmanaha, of the soul. Sama, equal. Drisha, whose vision. Swa, within himself. Sukha, of happiness. Anubhute, whose experience. Samsevatam, for those who properly worship. Surartaro, of the heavenly desire tree. Eva, as if. Te, your. Prasada, grace. Seva, with the service. Anurupam, in accordance. Udaya, desirable results. Na, not. Viparyayaha, contradiction. Atra, in this. Translation. Within your mind, there can be no such differentiation as this one is mine and that is another's, because you are the supreme absolute truth, the soul of all beings, always equipoised and enjoying transcendental happiness within yourself. Just like the heavenly desire tree, you bless all who properly worship you, granting their desired fruits in proportion to the service they render you. There is nothing wrong in this. Please repeat. Within your mind, there can be no such differentiation as this one is mine and that is another's, because you are the supreme absolute truth, the soul of all beings, always equipoised and enjoying transcendental happiness within yourself. Just like the heavenly desire tree, You bless all who properly worship you, granting their desired fruits in proportion to the service they render you. There is nothing wrong in this. Purport by the followers of His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Srila Sridhar Swami explains that a desire tree has no material attachments or partiality, but simply bestows its fruits upon those who deserve them and not upon others. Thank you. Jiva Goswami Prabhupada adds that a desire tree does not think, this person is fit to worship me, but that other person is not. Rather, a desire tree is satisfied with all who properly serve it, and the Lord acts in the same way as explained here by King Yudhisthira. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti adds that no one should accuse Lord Krishna of being envious of one person and showing favoritism toward another. Since the Lord is Swa Sukhanubhuti, experiencing his own happiness within himself, he has nothing to gain or lose in relation to the conditioned souls. Rather, he reciprocates according to how they approach him. Srila Prabhupada very nicely sums up this point as follows in his rendering of King Yudhisthira's statement. If one takes to Krishna consciousness, his life becomes fulfilled both materially and spiritually. This does not mean that you are partial to the Krishna conscious person and indifferent to the non-Krishna conscious person. You are equal to everyone. That is your declaration. You cannot be partial to one and non-interested in others because you are sitting in everyone's heart as the supersoul and giving everyone the respective results of his fruitive activities. You give every living entity the chance to enjoy this material world as he desires. As the supersoul, you are sitting in the body along with the living entity, giving him the result of his own actions, as well as opportunities to turn toward your devotional service by developing Krishna consciousness. You openly declare that one should surrender unto you, giving up all other engagements, and that you will take charge of him, giving him relief from the reactions of all sins. You are like the desire tree in the heavenly planets, which awards benediction according to one's desires. Everyone is free to achieve the highest perfection, but if one does not so desire, then your rewarding of lesser benedictions is not due to partiality. So I really like this verse, and I also really like the purport because I feel like it's chock full of a lot of different things to talk about and focus on. First, I'm going to read the commentaries by the Acharyas, and then I'll share my thoughts. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, "But I will not display malice myself if I show the excellence of those who are favorable to me and show the inferiority of those who go against me." This verse relies. You do not have a mentality of prejudice, distinguishing on the basis of my side and the other side, since you are completely pure. But as the supersoul in all living entities, you engage them all in their actions as they have fallen into an endless flow of karmas, and you give them good or bad results suitable to their acts, not by favoritism. And you have nothing to gain from the enjoyers or sufferers of their deeds. You are engaged in your own bliss. But then, who are the objects of my qualities like affection and mercy? You show affection to those who serve you with their hearts. You have such generosity, you not only cut the bondage of karma, but given everything up to your own self. Therefore, you are called a desire tree. But then, do I not show some prejudice there? As the desire tree gives to those who take shelter of it, without considering a person's fault or merits, you also show mercy to anyone who serves you. But this mercy is according to the quality of service. As a little service gives little results, great service gives great results. Thus, there is no prejudice or injustice. There is nothing improper in it. Though you have no prejudice, you are especially favorable to your devotee, being controlled by affection. But even there, you give favorable results for favorable service and unfavorable results for faulty service. Comment by Jiva Goswami. The desire tree gives results to those who worship even though they do not have strong attraction, Or there is no distinctions that one person can worship because he is qualified and another cannot worship because he is unqualified. It is merciful to anyone who serves it with respect. But in worshiping you, the result is not just according to the service, the result is more. Even if there is irregularity in the worship, the opposite, no result, does not take place. Krishna, who is very affectionate towards his devotees, sells himself to a devotee who offers merely a tulsi leaf and a palmful of water. According to the bhava of the devotee, there will be various degrees of result. Faith is the cause. If a person, having given up his duties in varnashram, begins the worship of the Lord's lotus feet and happens to deviate or not reach perfection, there is no misfortune for him at all in the future. But what does the person who follows all duties of varnashram but does not worship the Lord gain? Comment by Sanatana Goswami. Therefore, be merciful to us by giving results desired and even beyond our desires. The deep meaning is destroy Jarasandha. According to different services, there are different results. By a little service, there is a little result. There is a response to everyone doing service without being unfair. Thus it is said in the verse, for those who are absorbed in your service, you show mercy. This also glorifies service. One should not say that equally the Lord gives mercy, since he is Lord of the universe, and that he should not punish anyone. This verse answers, though the Lord is the cause of everything, the Atma of everyone, and Antarami, and equal to all, is he inclined to the devotee, or is there no difference in treatment of the non-devotee? Yes, there is a difference. Why? He is affectionate to his devotee, since he experiences happiness from his devotees. He will be merciful to those who serve him. By its nature, there is absorption in the service. It does not mean that he won't be merciful only to those who serve him in full surrender. An example is given. It is like a desire tree. The mercy yields results, not according to the amount of service, but the opposite. A little service gives great results, but the results given by the Lord are greater than that given by the desire tree, since he is the Supreme Lord. That is proper. So the first thing that stuck out to me was in the verse where it states, within your mind there can be no such differentiation as this one is mine and that is another's. It made me think of George Harrison's book, his autobiography, I, Me, and Mine. And it also made me think of the Beatles song, I, Me, and Mine. I think that's the title. But the quote that George Harrison wrote about that song, I, Me, Mine, he said, I, Me, Mine is the ego problem. There are two I's. The little I, when people say I am this and I am that, and the big I is duality and ego. There is nothing that isn't part of the complete whole. When the little I merges into the big I, then you are really smiling. And for that, I thought that was really interesting because it's clear that what he's getting at here is talking about how with our false ego, we identify as separate from Krishna, but once we understand that we are actually meant to serve Krishna, meant to be subordinate to Krishna, then that's when we will find our true happiness. And this song was written when the Beatles split up, right after this song was written, they broke up, and it was because there was a lot of identifying with false ego, and this was causing a lot of divisiveness within their band. And this is something that I've noticed is a theme amongst groups, is when people within the groups start to identify with, false egos, start to identify this is mine, I'm this, I did that. That's what causes division. It happens to, British boy bands, and it happens to religious organizations as well. And it happens a lot, and it's actually happening right now, or it happened recently within the United Methodist Church, which I'm familiar with because my dad's a pastor within the United Methodist Church, and he was telling me that they recently split in half due to different views on LGBTQ folks, and the belief that, or some people believing that gay people should be able to be ordained clergy, some people believing they shouldn't be able to be ordained clergy, but ultimately this was something that divided them, and now they're the Global Methodist Church and the United Methodist Church. So to me, this seemed like similar to the problem that happened with the Beatles, this I, me, mine. Instead of focusing on what the true nature of who they are within the church, which is servants of Christ, and in our case, servants of Krishna, they were focused on how are we different from one another, what is the issue that divides us, and ultimately that issue really put a huge split in between them. And I think that's something that really sticks out to me, especially now, because we have issues within ISKCON that are dividing people. And ultimately, I feel like, from my perspective, obviously my perspective is limited. I'm new, to the movement. I'm new to, I guess, understanding the politics that happen within ISKCON. So I can only speak from my own limited perspective, but I feel like ultimately every single one of us are meant to focus on the fact that, one, we're servants of Krishna, and two, we're meant to serve Srila Prabhupada's mission and understand his mood. And if we focus on that, then we can't be divided, because that is the most unifying thing there is. If we understand that as we are all servants of Krishna and of Srila Prabhupada, we will all serve within our own capacity, within our own spiritual advancement, within our own realization, and we are accepting of those differences instead of rejecting those differences, then we will be able to come together instead of being divided like the United Methodist Church was, or being divided like the Beatles were. You know, the Beatles broke up and then we lost their music. We lost their impact on the world. If we, as ISKCON, continue to allow things to divide us and continue to focus on our differences instead of seeing how our differences bring us together, we will not be able to have the impact on the world that we need to have. My Gurudev often says that Lord Chaitanya came to open the storehouse of love of God and flood the world with love of God, and that's what Srila Prabhupada did as well. He brought bhakti to the entire world because he was flooding the world with love of God. He was flooding the world with the holy names. And that is our ultimate mission. The compassion that Srila Prabhupada had is a compassion that we need to try to imbibe and understand. And that begins with having compassion for self and compassion for others. That begins with understanding, I'm serving within my own capacity. These other Vaishnavas are serving within their own capacity, and the way they serve, I may not fully understand it, I may not fully agree with it, but ultimately we are all trying to serve. Ultimately, we are all doing what we believe is best for Srila Prabhupada's mission. And to understand what is really best for Srila Prabhupada's mission is made possible by understanding Srila Prabhupada. Thankfully, we have Srila Prabhupada Lila Amrita, we have his classes, we have, documentaries, we have his disciples here with us on the planet to share pastimes, and obviously we have so much literature. And by associating with Prabhupada in this way, then we're able to understand what his mood is, what his mission is, and how we can enact that within our lives and share that with others. I'm sharing this because I guess it's just on my mind frequently, the concerns, because I feel concerned about the future of ISKCON because, like I said, I'm so new to this movement, and it's easy for me to kind of think of it as this behemoth that will just last forever and ever. But ultimately, seeing what happened to the United Methodist Church really made me understand that we are not immune to that sort of issue, that sort of problem. The United Methodist Church has been existing for hundreds and hundreds of years. We're a relatively new movement in the grand scheme of things. So I think that the fact that issues like this are coming to the surface now is actually a good thing, because it just gives us an opportunity to understand how we can move through these problems together rather than moving through these problems apart. Something else that I wanted to talk about was how we identify, I, me, and mine, and how when we step away from that identification, that's where true happiness is. In Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, chapter 9, verse 3, the verse states, "As soon as the living entity becomes situated in his constitutional glory and begins to enjoy the transcendence beyond time and material energy, he at once gives up the two misconceptions of life, I and mine, and thus becomes fully manifested as the pure self." So within this purport for this verse, Srila Prabhupada is talking about how all of the living entities have this conception of I, me, and mine, and it really causes so much division. Like animals, I, me, and mine, they'll fight over territory. I'm saying animals like humans do that too, we're fighting wars where we are identifying this is my nation, that's your nation, this is my family, that's your family, this is my race, my gender, that's your race, that's your gender, you're over there, I'm over here. Instead of focusing on what it is that connects us, we are all servants of Krishna, we are all spiritual beings on a spiritual journey. And this misconception of I, me, and mine is ultimately because we want to be the controllers. We want to get to a place where we feel supreme and we feel like we have control over material nature. And I think within our own little lives, we do this without sometimes even realizing it. And we may think that's where, security is, that's where safety is to be the controller. I feel better if I'm in control. But actually, Prabhupada compares it to a poor person who doesn't have a job and then gets employed by the government and gets a job with lots of money, nice benefits. Then he feels secure, then he feels safe. And that's kind of who we are right now. We're these poor people who are thinking, I need to control this, I need to control that. But actually, when we surrender our control to Krishna and allow him to govern over us and allow ourselves to take shelter of him, then we are able to have real happiness. Then we're able to have real security, real peace. And I can experience this in my own spiritual life. Just being here at the temple, taking shelter of the Holy Dham, is something that I would have never seen coming in a million years. I thought I was gonna graduate college and move to South Korea and teach English and have a life that I was going to kind of craft from my own mind. I thought I was gonna be in charge of everything. I thought it was gonna be ABC. It was all gonna make sense to me because I was gonna come up with it all. But ultimately, Krishna had other plans. And now I'm here at the temple doing full-time service, and I'm so happy. I'm so much happier here than I think I would have been if I had, left the country and followed my other plans, because here's where I found the answers that I've been looking for my whole life. Here's where I found the sorts of people that I've been looking for my whole life. And I think that is just one small for me. It strengthens my faith because my life has taken so many twists and turns, but ultimately I always end up in a place that's usually better than what I thought it would have been. It's always something beyond my conception, my own reality, and it's always better. So I think that's just to show us Krishna has it under control. And when we relinquish control and allow him to be in charge of our lives, because he is in charge of our lives, we're not in charge, we just think we are. But once we really surrender to him, that's when we'll find like true peace. I was talking with Leela Shakti once, and she said that she was like, Krishna's the architect of my life. And that's something that like rings in my head on like a daily basis practically. I just want Krishna to be the architect of my life. And I think that for all of us, if we're, approaching service and approaching our lives with this mood of, Krishna, where is your hand in this? How are you the architect within this? How can I serve you within this? How can I remember Srila Prabhupada and serve him? How can I serve my guru? Excuse me. That's where we will find, that's where the actual meaning of life is to me. That's where the real fulfillment is. And so I think it's important that we sit with ourselves and ask ourselves these questions of where am I, where's my false ego coming up in my life? Where am I focused on I, me, and mine? Because when you ask yourself those questions and allow those answers to come to the surface, then you are then able to say and pray to Krishna, please Krishna, in this area of my life, I'm struggling. I'm having such a hard time remembering you. I'm having a hard time relinquishing control. Please Krishna, bring me to this place of where I can understand that you have a plan and allow me to surrender myself to you so that your plan can be enacted. And yeah, I think that was, those are just a few of the things that really stuck out to me with this verse, and with the purport, and yeah, talking about how identifying with the false ego affects us on a grand scale. It literally, divides groups, it divides religious organizations, and identifying with the false ego affects us on a small scale within our own day-to-day lives. It forces us to separate ourselves from others and focus on the false reality that we've created. And it separates us from Krishna, separates us from the true fulfillment and peace that we're meant to have. Does anyone have any comments or questions or anything like that? Yes. In which in which specific way? In which context?
In the context of our daily interaction with Krishna and devotees.
Okay. That's definitely important to, an important part to focus on. I feel I think it's probably different for everyone, but I think one of the biggest things that comes to mind for me is fault finding. I know that whenever I catch myself in this cycle of fault finding, that's when I'm strongly identifying with my false ego. I'm thinking, oh, I'm this person and I'm doing this, I'm doing that, that person's doing all of this and that. But ultimately, that's just not the reality. And that's what, that can be a Vaishnava aparad, that can be an offense, finding fault within others. And then two, it forces, it brings you to this place of kind of, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but I guess degrading others or something. And also too, I think fault finding within yourself is another thing. I don't think people talk about that as much, but sitting there criticizing yourself is also really bad and not conducive to your spiritual growth, because we are so focused on don't fault find with others, don't criticize others, which is very important. But also, when we're doing that with ourselves, all we're doing is just being more absorbed within ourselves. All we're doing is just being more obsessed with ourselves and this, that, and the third, when we should be thinking, about Krishna's glories, and like we should be thinking good things. We should be thinking like, I'm a work in progress, Krishna's working on me, like it's okay. I've heard so many times that humility does not mean to think less of yourself, it means to think of yourself less. And when you have humility, I think that's when you're stepping away from the identification with the false ego. So, Hare Krishna. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to the Vaishnavas here.
Thank you. Really, really good class. That's the kind of class that are really good classes. And that's important, very important.
Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami. 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 Andani yasa sakale Priya Priti Panti Pasyanti Panti Kayanti Chiram Naganti Ananda Maya Sadhu Jala Vigrahasya Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami. Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami. Govindam
Nashrimavamana Srimadhusudana Rajendra Nandana Shama. Cartels. Utana Gatana Kaitaba Shatana Jaya Dasarati Rama. Jaya Dasarati Yashoda Dulala Govinda Gopala Vrindavana Purandara. Gopi Priya Jana Radhika Ramana Bhuvana Sundara Bara. Jana Radhika Ravana Takara Makana Taskara Gopi Jana Vastrahari. Brajera Rakala Gopa Vrindapala Chitahari Vamshidari. Rakala Gopa Yogendra Vandana Srinandanandana Raja Jana Bayahari. Nandana Nandanandana Nandana Navina Nirada Rupa Manohara Mohana Bamsi Vihari. Nirada Rupa Manohara Jasoda Dandana Kamsani Sudana Nikunjana Savilasi. Kadamba Kanana Rasa Parayana Vrindavipina Nivasi. Ananda Vardana Prema Niketana Pulashana Jojakakama. Gopangana Gana Chita Vinodana Samasta Gunagana Dama. Jamuna Jivana Kele Purayana Manasa Chandra Chakora Jivana Kele Purayana Namasudha Rasa Goa Krishna Jasa Rakavachana Manamora Vibhavari Shesha Haloka Provecha Nija Chari Uta Jiva Haloka Provecha Nija Bolo Hari Hari Mukunda Murari Rama Krishna Hayagriva Hari Mukunda Murari Jaya Radha Lokananda Radha Golokananda Shri Radhe Golokananda Radha Nanda Shri Jaya Radha Golokananda Radha Golokananda Shri Radhe Nanda Shri Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Shri Radhe Jaya Shri Jaya Giri Govardhan Jaya Giri Govardhan Jaya Giri Govardhan Jaya Shri Vrindavan Dham Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada. The night has come to an end and the light of dawn is entering. O Jiva soul, arise and give up your sleep. Chant the holy names of Lord Hari, giver of liberation, enemy of demon Mura, supreme enjoyer, all attractive, and Hari Griva, the horse-headed incarnation. Nrsimha, half man, half lion incarnation. Vamana, dwarf Brahmin incarnation. Killer of demon Madhu, beloved son of Raja's ruler. Beautifully dark complexion, slayer of witch Putana, destroyer of demon Kaitaba, and victorious son of Dasarath, Lord Ram, darling of Yasoda, giver of pleasure to cows, land, and spiritual senses, cow protector, Lord of Vrindavan, the gopis' beloved, lover of Radhika, and most beautiful in all the worlds, cause of demon Ravana's demise as Lord Ram, butter thief, robber of the gopi girls' clothes, young herdsman of Braja, protector of the other cowherd boys, thief of hearts and flute carrier, worshipped by the best of the yogis, Nanda's joy, remover of all fears for the people of Braja, cool like a fresh spring cloud, enchanting in form and charming while wandering and playing a flute, Yasoda's joy, vanquisher of demon king Kamsa, enjoyer of the rasa dance among the forest groves, and especially under the kadamba trees and resident of the woods of Vrinda, increasing the ecstasy of his devotees, reservoir of all love, the transcendental Cupid who uses his flowered arrows to increase his loving desire, gopis, the pleasure of the hearts of all coward women and men, and the abode of all wonderful qualities, the life of the Jamuna river, always absorbed in amorous pastimes, and moon of the mind, which is like the moonlight feeding chikora bird. Heed my words, O mind. These holy names are full of nectarian mellows. Therefore sing the glories of Krishna. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur ki jai. Shri Shikshastikam. Cetodarpanamarjanam Bhavamahadavagni Nirvapanam Shreya Karaiva Chandrika Vitaranam Vidyavadu Jivanam Andandam Buddhi Vardhanam Vidyavadam. Nadanam Najanam Nasundari Kavitam